Good morning. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this Concise Webinar. My name is Richard Keeves, and I welcome you. I'd also like to introduce my co-presenter, Gareth Lane.
That'd be me.
That would. Okay. Thanks very much for coming. For those people who have not been to one of our Concise Webinars before, this is a quick little intro. We try to keep these concise. We try to keep these educational and also focused on information and stuff you can use. Quick overview. As I say, my name's Richard and Gareth. We're two of the directors of Concise Digital, world's best digital agency. And today's webinar is on Google Ads, and specifically some of the things that have been introduced into Google Ads recently and in 2023, how to use some of these things, some of these tools. The two big changes as of now, we're recording this in July 2023, Performance Max ads, which are called abbreviated to PMax, and also an increasingly powerful AI-based search that is becoming more and more useful and more valuable. Google actually refers to these things as the ads power pairing, which is a nice salesy kind of a salesy thing, but this is about how you can use both of these tools to maximize conversions across all of Google. Now, what all of Google actually means is the ability to run ads now wherever Google has the opportunity to show them, which includes in search, on YouTube, in Gmail, shopping ads, Google Maps, display ads, a whole network they've got called Discovery Network. There's a whole bunch of things and places where your ads can now run using PMax. And you don't have to think about where they're going. It's all automated, and it's using something which, well, it's using Google's AI, which is continuing to evolve. It uses goals. Gareth's going to talk more about this and show you some examples, but it's about setting up goal-based campaign types that are really focused on conversions. And as we put a little quote here from Google, uses using improved keywordless AI technology, PMax analyzes your landing page content, your assets and your product feed to find new converting queries and to generate relevant text ads that match a user's intent. So all this happens behind the scenes really quickly and is based on what Google knows about you and your website and what you've set it up that you want to achieve through the ads. So this is actually pretty clever stuff, and it's getting cleverer, continuing to get cleverer. There is a like in this concept of the power pairing, you can use search and you can use PMax to really maximize the coverage of how you're running ads within Google. And this can result in some pretty good benefits and pretty good conversions. There's two new things that Google's introduced that didn't start. This PMax has been around since November 21 when it was first, they talked about it before, but it was then introduced in November 21. And so it in itself is not brand new, but it's taken a while to get to the stage where people are now, agencies and individual businesses are now using it and using it well. And also Google's continuing to improve it, to add new features, and the ability to add negative keywords and also exclude different brands has now been added into it. Google introduced that as a concept in February of this year. And as of June, roughly, it's now working and out of beta and now rolled out pretty much globally. So those are some new features that Google has added to PMax to allow this to happen. It's not all good news. I mean, there's a lot of good news with it, but it currently is not this sort of silver bullet road to heaven. There is the good. It's automated. You can run ads across the whole Google network. It learns really quickly and uses audience signals, which are activities and actions and events and things that the audience of the ads do or don't do. It learns those, it records those and learns really quickly to improve the campaigns that are being run. So this can improve conversions quickly using AI. And it can also start to generate really good campaigns. There is some bad news, or not bad news, but currently stuff that we don't like about it, and that is it's not just us; it's people around the world who are using PMax ads. If you set up unclear goals, then you can have campaigns that don't perform very well. the reporting from it, where you can say, okay, where did this ad come from? Where did this lead come from, or this sale come from? Let's track it back and try to do more of those. You don't get this kind of visibility in the reports that Google provides with PMax ads at the moment. It may improve, or Google may keep it all kind of blind inside this magical black box and just tell you that this is what's happening, and just, you know, put up with it, enjoy it, suck it up, and get the conversions, get the leads, and it keeps all these things under its hat. But the bottom line is we can't manually improve a lot of this stuff because we don't know all of the things that the AI is doing. It does rely very heavily on automation, which means that there's a loss of control to individual advertisers. And what it has, like, you can generate a lot more conversions, but people around the world, including us, are finding that sometimes this also comes with lower quality of leads. It doesn't always, but it's about then how you treat what is a conversion, and how you treat those conversions, and how you follow up if it's an inquiry, and, you know, how you process or transact with sales if it's an e-commerce site. So there's a few things that are really good about it, and there's a few things that are still evolving about it. And now what I'm going to do is hand over the talking stick to Gareth to either add to this, and also to give you some demos. Gareth?
Thank you, Richard. So just going to share my screen. Okay, so this, I think one of the things, if you're familiar with Google Ads, is in the past, if you're not using PMax, it's a very granular way of choosing where the ads go. So you could choose search or shopping or YouTube or display, and you could have very tight controls over where you wanted those ads to appear. And I believe that Google kind of, you know, they're still an American public company. They gave a little bit too much control to people like us, who really want to say, well, I only want this ad to appear on this page, I only want this ad to appear on YouTube, and so on. And so this introduction of PMax a few years ago was about showing ads across the entire Google network. So Google owns YouTube. Google owns Google AdSense, which is a large majority of the ads you see on, you know, lots of other websites. You know, if you Google a recipe and you see thousands of ads popping up, generally all of those are through the Google Ad network. So if you use a PMax campaign, those ads can potentially run across all of these areas. You know, and these ones are kind of obvious: the Google search engine, the shopping tab, the display network, but then you've got YouTube, and then even in Gmail, and then other Google products such as Google Play on your phone. They're the sort of really annoying ads that pop up in the way of the, you know, home button and so on. So just be mindful that if you do choose a PMax campaign for your Google ad account, there is a high chance that your ads will be shown across a lot of areas you perhaps don't want them to be shown. So keep that in mind. This is another graphic which just sort of segments them into groups, and which is best. You know, if you're an electrician in a particular, you know, suburb, and you want work in that postcode, then display ads, shopping ads, and YouTube ads are probably of no use. Search ads are more useful. If you are, say, Apple, and you've created the new iPhone, or their new VR headset, then perhaps a display ad and a YouTube ad would be more ideal to show people your new product, because people haven't gone Googling it yet. So it's the age-old approach of picking the best area for your ads and your intended target audience still applies. So just be mindful that with PMax campaigns, you don't get the choice to do that anymore. If you do want to see where your ads are being shown inside the Google Ads account, you can go to the Performance Max campaigns placement. Google purposely hide this in one of the menus under reports and then other, because if they made it obvious, I think a lot of people would say, well, maybe I don't want my ads shown on those websites. And for example, this one has ads shown on Yahoo, AOL, Live, MSN, The Sun, gaming sites, CNN, eBay. So you could argue that a large majority of those are completely irrelevant, and these are the highest served ads in Google's network. So keep that in mind as well. Then when you choose to set up a new campaign now in Google Ads, it's very sort of Facebook style in that it asks you what is your campaign objective. Just make that a bit bigger. Keep in mind that if you are going to use a PMAX campaign, it generally uses conversions to self-calculate and self-learn. And in my experience, and there's quite a lot of talk on the SEO and Google ad journals on the web about Google PMAX working best for larger accounts, and they state that Google recommends a minimum of 50 conversions per PMAX campaign per month for it to learn effectively. Now, if you do the maths on that, you say, well, if I'm going to have a minimum of 50 conversions, 50 inquiries or 50 e-commerce sales, and my conversion rate on my website is 5%, which is generally pretty good and very good if you're in e-commerce, then you should be expecting to get at least 1,000 clicks per PMAX campaign per month. Now, let's pretend each click is $2 a click. The budget for that campaign needs to be somewhere around $2,000 a month in order for Google PMAX to do its thing properly. That's according to Google, right? If you go back to the same 50 conversions per month and you've only got a 2% conversion rate, which is fairly standard for e-commerce businesses, then you'd be expecting to get 2,500 clicks per month. And let's say they were $2 a click, you would be needing sort of $5,000 a month for that PMAX campaign. So generally, the advice is if you are under a $2,000-3,000 a month Google ad budget, PMAX is potentially not the best option, because even Google admits themselves that their algorithms can't learn well enough if you're not getting more than 50 conversions from that campaign. So that one is something, again, they don't really kind of suggest or put at the top of the page, because that would turn a lot of people off. But if you are spending sort of 5, 10, 15, 20 grand a month on Google Ads, then you'll probably find that PMAX could do quite a good job, because all AI based tools need quantities of data to learn from. So the more data they have, the better they can understand and make decisions. And that's really what PMAX is about, using artificial intelligence to help improve ad campaigns. The other thing I would say to be mindful of is typically in the past, running a Google ad campaign can be somewhat difficult, and you do need to really know what you're doing. And agencies would typically charge somewhere between 20 and 30% of the Google ad media spend in order to manage that account for you. Now, with a PMAX campaign, a lot of the controls are taken away from you with that. And so managing that is generally cheaper. So while you may find you might spend a few more dollars on the media and the click price using a PMAX campaign, and there might be a bit more wastage, if you're dealing with a fair and reasonable agency, you'll probably or should find that their fees would be less, or should be less, because there's less for them to manage and less things for them to do manually. So if you are using an agency that is doing PMAX campaigns and they haven't changed their billing, then it's probably worth a review. And the other thing that is always worth really thinking about is the locations tab. Again, it's not done by default, and Google will effectively show ads wherever it thinks is relevant. For a lot of small businesses in Australia, generally their locations are only relevant to perhaps a 50-kilometre radius around their home base. So if their office or their business is in Joondalup, then typically they only want to show ads within a 50k radius. So make sure that you use the campaign settings location tab to show ads to the intended target audience correctly. And with that, Richard, I'll hand back to you. Unless there's any questions, we've got a few minutes left.
Yeah, no, thanks, Gareth. So, as you can see, there's a bit to it. The AI is pretty smart, but it's not totally great. It does require lots of data in order to learn quickly, but when it learns quickly, it's good. We've got clients who are getting better conversions out of using PMax than previously what we were doing, but using specific keywords and working that way. But this is something to use search as well as PMax, not get rid of search and only run PMax. Google says use them both, and that way you've got things covered. But as Gareth also mentioned, because Google now runs ads across all its network, it's actually running ads where previously people didn't really want to run ads. And the reason people didn't really want to run ads is because they don't always work on all of these other properties or other ad platforms or online platforms on which ads can be run. And so there's some kind of trade-off here, and Google's optimizing its own use of its own advertising space, and doing so in the name of AI. So there's it's an interesting kind of position at the moment. And I think over the next few years, it'll get smarter and smarter, everything will. And really we just need to kind of work with it but understand where it's good and where it's not so good. That's it from me. If anyone's got any questions, then please feel free to contact us, either Gareth or myself. And if we don't know the answer, we'll help you find it or put you in touch with people who do. Thanks very much, and I hope you've enjoyed this Concise webinar. Gareth?
Have a lovely day, and we've done our 20 minutes on time for a change.
Awesome. Sean just added a comment in the comments. Thank you very much, Sean. Saying great insights.
Yeah, much appreciated.
Thanks, Sean. And other people, you're very welcome to contact us. Let us know. Okay. Thanks very much. And again, this has been another Concise webinar. Thank you.
Bye.